Do you understand what you're asking me to do? Amara's voice was trembling, yet sharp enough to cut through the tension in the small apartment. She clutched the edge of the kitchen counter, her knuckles white, stomach tight with fear and disbelief. The city lights of Lagos spilled through the window, indifferent to the storm unfolding inside. Tay, her boyfriend, leaned against the wall, arms crossed, jaw tight, eyes flickering between frustration and panic. "I'm telling you this for our own good," he said, voice low but insistent. "We're not ready for this. I've worked too hard to throw everything away. You have to, fix it." Amara froze. Fix it? The words echoed in her mind, louder than the honking cars outside. "You mean get rid of it? Just like that?" "Yes," he said, tone sharp. "It's the only way. Don't let this ruin our lives." Her stomach turned, a mix of fear and anger coiling like a snake inside her. The tiny heartbeat she had felt yesterday in the clinic, the rhythm of a life she carried, suddenly became a declaration of her own courage. And yet, Tay's words made it feel like a crime just to live. Amara's thoughts spiraled. She remembered the nights they spent together in the university library, huddled over textbooks, whispering dreams for a future that seemed so secure then. She remembered Tay holding her hand on the campus fountain, promising forever, promising protection. Now those promises felt like smoke slipping through her fingers. Ngozi, her roommate, had warned her. "Amara, not everyone can carry love when it demands responsibility. Be careful." She had brushed it off, believing Tay was different. She had believed in loyalty, in love strong enough to survive everything. Now she realized some lessons come too late. The phone buzzed again. Another message from Tay, short, clinical. "We can't do this. Think about your future." Amara's chest tightened. Her eyes scanned the room, landing on the tiny crib she had bought months ago, now gathering dust in the corner. A life not yet here, already at the center of a battle between hope and fear. She pressed a hand to her stomach instinctively, feeling that small, defiant heartbeat. The city hummed outside, oblivious to her struggle, the lives of strangers colliding in chaos while hers held in balance. Her heart raced, each beat louder than the last, each one a reminder that she could not erase what was real. Tay's voice cut through her thoughts again. "If you don't do this now, everything we dreamed about is gone. Do you want to throw it all away?" Amara turned to him, eyes wide, voice steady despite the tremor in her chest. "No, I won't throw it away. This is not just about us anymore. This is about life. My life. Our child's life." Tay froze. Rage, fear, and disbelief passed over his face. For the first time, Amara realized that the path she was stepping onto would not be easy, but it was hers to walk. And in that moment she felt it, the heartbeat. A small, persistent reminder that life moves forward even when we are not ready. The next morning, Lagos felt heavier than usual. Amara stepped onto the busy campus street, her bag slung over one shoulder, heart hammering as if it carried the secret alone. Students laughed, argued, shared breakfast and deadlines, but she moved through them like a shadow. Every smile she returned felt forced. Every step was measured. Her roommate, Ngozi, noticed immediately. "You've been avoiding everyone," she said gently over breakfast. "Even your lectures." Amara nodded, trying to smile. I need space." Ngozi studied her carefully, sensing the storm beneath the calm exterior. "Amara, people can see when you're carrying more than books. What's going on?" She shook her head, not ready to tell anyone. The fear of judgment clawed at her. The whispers of campus rumors already felt like daggers waiting to strike. Pregnancy before readiness wasn't just shocking, it was taboo. And she wasn't ready for Tay's abandonment to become everyone else's story. Days turned into weeks. Each morning she faced lectures, group work, and hallways lined with students whose lives seemed effortless. She had learned how to answer questions with precision, laugh when necessary, and hide the rising panic inside. But every time she touched her stomach, she felt the tiny heartbeat thrumming like a warning bell. This life was real, undeniable, demanding courage. Tay, meanwhile, had retreated completely. He stopped calling. Messages that once carried warmth were now cold, clipped, clinical. "Do what you need to do. Think about your future." He didn't understand, couldn't understand the weight of carrying a life, the fear that sometimes paralyzed her, and the determination that slowly grew. One evening, Amara returned to her hostel to find a letter slipped under her door. Her name, written in neat handwriting she recognized immediately. Taze, I can't deal with this. I can't face the responsibility. You need to make the right choice. The words burned into her. Not guilt, not anger, just a hollow, chilling sense of isolation. She crumpled the letter, clutching her stomach. For the first time, she felt truly alone in the city of millions. Flashbacks hit her like lightning. The way he held her hand under the campus lamppost, whispered promises of forever, swore nothing could break them. And now, silence, betrayal, absence. At night she lay awake, staring at the ceiling, imagining the small heartbeat beneath her hand. Each thump was a reminder. Life insists, even when we are not ready. Each beat whispered a challenge. Protect this life, or let it vanish into nothing. Her mother, Mama Nui, called her that night. You sound different, she said, a quiet concern in her voice. Are you okay, Amara? I'm fine, Amara whispered, not ready to reveal her burden. You know, sometimes life gives lessons before we are ready, her mother said. And sometimes those lessons are louder than the world's judgment. Listen to your heart, child. It speaks the truth your mind is afraid to admit. Amara rested her hand on her stomach again, feeling the pulse of the tiny life inside her. Her resolve hardened. She didn't have all the answers. She wasn't ready. But she would not let fear or betrayal dictate the course of this life. In that quiet, desperate room with the hum of Lagos outside, she understood something essential. Being left to face life alone can awaken strength we never knew we had. Weeks stretched into months, and Amara's secret became a shadow that followed her everywhere. Every lecture, every campus event, every crowded street felt like a gauntlet she had to run while hiding a fragile life inside her. But the heartbeat never ceased. Small, persistent, defiant, she began confiding. Quietly in her mother, Mama Nui. It wasn't easy. Her mother's eyes reflected worry, disappointment, and an unspoken understanding. You have to decide. Amara, Mama Nui said one evening, sitting across from her in their modest living room. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will approve. But the choice you make, it will define the life that comes after. Amara stared at her hands, trembling slightly. She thought of Tay, his absence, his cold words. Do what you need to do. Think about your future. He hadn't realized yet that life was not something you could erase so easily. I don't know if I'm ready, Amara whispered. I can barely manage myself. How can I manage another life? Mama Nui reached over, grasping her daughter's hands with quiet strength. Amara, life doesn't wait until we are ready. It doesn't care about timing or comfort. What matters is courage. What matters is love. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to protect what cannot protect itself. Her words sank deep, echoing the folktales her grandmother had once told her, stories of young women who faced trials greater than themselves. Guided by intuition and a quiet sense of justice. In those tales, life always demanded respect, even when it arrived before readiness. That night, Amara walked through the campus quietly, taking a route she hadn't taken before. The city lights reflected on the wet asphalt from an earlier rain, making the streets feel both vast and intimate. Students laughed, couples whispered, vendors shouted, and cars honked, but Amara felt a singular clarity in the chaos. The heartbeat beneath her hand reminded her of the truth she could not deny. She was carrying more than a secret. She was carrying responsibility, consequence, and potential. She could give up. She could follow Tay's instructions and erase what had begun. But she would not. Not anymore. She began planning small steps at first. Financial independence, daytime jobs, saving, and preparing mentally for the months ahead. Every stitch of effort she put into her own life was a shield for the life she was about to nurture. Even Tay's messages, brief and hesitant, could not sway her. Are you sure? Think carefully. You're too young. The words no longer frightened her. They reinforced her resolve. Amara's circle began to notice the change. Ngozi observed quietly. You look different, stronger, Scared, but stronger. Amara allowed herself a small smile, her fingers lightly pressing against her stomach. I have no choice but to be strong, she said softly. Someone is counting on me. And in the rhythm of that heartbeat, she understood something profound. Life is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It is about courage and imperfection. It is about embracing responsibility even when unprepared. And it is about protecting what you cannot replace, no matter how terrifying it seems. That night, as the city hummed outside, Amara made a vow she would carry like fire in her chest. Asterisk, asterisk, I will protect this life. I will not. By the time Amara's pregnancy became impossible to hide, whispers had already begun. Campus hallways that had once felt familiar now seemed like gauntlets. Students glanced sideways, laughter dipped into silence when she passed, and even professors offered careful smiles that carried the weight of judgment. Amara's stomach had grown, but so had her resolve. She walked with her head high, bag slung over one shoulder, moving like someone carrying a secret treasure rather than a burden. Each step felt heavy, not just with the life inside her, but with the awareness that the world expected her to fail. One morning, as she navigated the crowded campus square, a group of students jeered, voices sharp and unforgiving. She's too young, one muttered. What a disgrace! Amara's chest tightened. The temptation to run, to hide, to crumble was overwhelming. But then she felt it, the persistent heartbeat beneath her hand. It reminded her that she was no longer just herself. She was a protector, a mother before she had even dreamed of it. Back in her apartment, Ngozi paced. You can't let them break you, Amara. People talk because they're scared of strength they don't understand. I'm scared, Amara admitted, the words almost strangled by tears. I don't know how to do this. How to survive alone. Ngozi stopped, gripping her shoulders. You've survived worse than whispers. Remember Tay? He left. He chose comfort over responsibility. But this, she said, tapping Amara's stomach gently, this is yours. And yours alone to protect. Financial strain became an immediate challenge. Amara picked up small jobs tutoring younger students, selling handmade crafts, and even working at a local cafe. Every coin she earned went into saving for medical bills, baby supplies, and classes she couldn't afford to miss. Her social life evaporated, replaced by long nights of planning, studying, and breathing through fear. One rainy evening, she visited the clinic for her monthly checkup. The doctor smiled at her warmly. You're doing well. The baby is healthy. You're stronger than you realize. Amara forced a smile but let the words sink in. Stronger than she realized, she repeated it in her mind as the rain lashed against the clinic windows. Outside, the city moved on, indifferent to her struggles, unaware of the tiny life she carried and the fierce determination it inspired. Meanwhile, Tay remained absent, occasionally sending messages that now felt hollow. Are you sure about this? You can still change your mind. Amara had learned to ignore them. Every word was a reminder of his choice to abandon responsibility. And every day she survived without him was a quiet testament to her strength. That night, as she lay awake listening to the steady rhythm beneath her palm, she realized something profound. Motherhood had come before readiness. But readiness wasn't the prerequisite for love, courage, or life. The world could judge, society could scorn, and Tay could abandon, but none of it could touch the heartbeat she had vowed to protect. She whispered softly into the quiet room, I am ready. Not because I planned it, not because it's easy, but because it must be done. And in that small, private moment, she felt the first true sense of empowerment. Life had been thrust upon her, and she had chosen to rise. The day Tay returned was unannounced. Amara was at the campus library, organizing materials for a small tutoring session she had taken on when she noticed him standing at the entrance. His presence felt surreal, like a ghost from a life she had already survived. Tay. Her voice was steady, but her heart thumped in that familiar rhythm. Beneath her hand, the heartbeat that had carried her through months of fear and loneliness. He hesitated, awkward, the confident charm that had once ensnared her now replaced by guilt and uncertainty. Amara, I heard. You heard? She interrupted, calm but firm. What exactly did you hear? That I am surviving without you? That I am not broken by your absence. Tay flinched, words failing him. For once, the power he had wielded, The power to scare her, to pressure her, to demand she erase life itself was gone. Amara's daughter, Kiamaka, had been born months ago. Small, healthy, and vibrant, she was the embodiment of courage and resilience. Tay had not been there. And now, seeing Amara with the quiet confidence of a woman who had survived betrayal, societal judgment, and financial strain, he realized the enormity of what he had abandoned. "You don't understand," he began. I understand perfectly," Amara interrupted, eyes fierce yet calm. "I understand that you chose comfort over responsibility. I understand that you wanted control more than life. And I understand one more thing. I am stronger than you ever imagined." The library, usually filled with whispers and rustling pages, seemed to pause as she spoke. Amara's presence radiated the quiet power of someone who had faced storms alone and emerged whole. Tay's eyes fell to the ground. I didn't think it would be this hard." "You didn't think," Amara repeated softly. "That's the difference. I never had the luxury of not thinking. Every day, every choice, every heartbeat reminded me that life waits for no one. Not for fear. Not for hesitation. And certainly not for you." She glanced down at the small notebook in her bag, filled with lesson plans, scholarship applications, and notes about motherhood. Each page was a testament to months of relentless effort, of surviving without someone who should have stood beside her. "And this," she said, resting her hand on her stomach again, though Kiamaka was now beside her in a stroller, eyes wide and curious, "this is the proof that life chooses the brave. I became a mother before I was ready, but I survived. I thrived. And nothing you do now can change that." Tay swallowed hard, the reality of his absence crashing down. He had wanted to erase life, erase responsibility, but life had not waited. Life had grown in strength, courage, and resilience without him. Amara smiled, gentle but firm, and turned to walk away, Kiamaka's tiny hand resting on hers. Behind them, Lagos continued to hum, indifferent to Tay's regret, yet honoring Amara's triumph. In that moment, she realized the truth whispered through generations of Nigerian folktales. Life demands courage even before we are ready. Those who rise despite fear will always prevail. And as she walked forward, the heartbeat that had guided her through every sleepless night, every harsh word, every lonely struggle continued steady, insistent, and victorious.